Hello students, welcome once again. We are doing 1-1 onto function. So the last point that we had, right now we are working on understanding what is a function of x. So the last point that we saw was this point D, the underlying rule that decides or gives the unique value of y for a specific value of x is called the function. And since the rule is applied on values of x, hence it is also called as function of x. Consequently, it is denoted by f of x. Since this f of x is the value of y, hence we write y equals to f of x. So this particular statement you studied in the previous video. If you want, you can once again go to that video and understand this point. The next is the numbers which are taken by independent variable x make the domain set of the function. Student, this particular statement teaches you about what is a domain of a function, what is domain set of a function. So let's go back to y equals to f of x, y equals to 2x. Now here when I wrote y equals to f of x, for y equals to f of x I wrote y equals to 2x. So what did I say? I say that x is an independent variable because the value of x is decided by us. Okay, so we decide x value, and for those x value we get the y value when we are substituting x value in this expression of x. For every x value we get a y value. Now the question is, how do we know what value of x we are going to, how do we know what values of x are we supposed to take? So for that I give you one very simple word which will always help you deciding the values of x. Remember students, the word is permissible. Permissible. So this adjective permissible, what value of x should go into f of x? All those x values should go into f of x which are permissible. Now what is meaning of permissible? I tell you students, try to understand this. When I say y equals to 2x, you have to tell me now which x values are permissible. Do you think, can you imagine a number which you cannot put in the place of x when it is 2x? The answer is no. You understand that all x values are permissible for substitution in 2x. So here the domain is x belongs to set of real numbers. What is the domain? X belongs to set of real number. So the point that we were doing was the point that we did was the numbers which are taken by independent variable x. And just now I taught you that what numbers are taken by independent variable x. All the permissible values will go to the x. All the permissible value will go to the x. And what are permissible value? The permissible value will be decided by the function. Looking at the function or working on the function, we will come to know whether a particular x value is permissible or not. I will give you one more example. Suppose I have y is equal to x plus 2 upon x minus 3. So here I have y as a function of x. In this, if I want to calculate the values of y for different values of x, it is very simple. I will just have to substitute x value in place of in, in I'll have to substitute x values wherever x I see. But remember students, you are allowed to put all the x values that you wish except one x value. You can never put x is equal to 3 in this. You can never put x equals to 3 in this. The reason is, if you put x as 3, then look at the denominator. This will become 3 minus 3 equal to 0. That is what I meant by saying permissible value. So here x is equal to 3 is non-permissible. It is non-permissible, and hence the domain of this function is all the permissible values. So what are the permissible values? It is x belonging to R except 3. So you will write the domain of x is x belonging to R except, so you will subtract the singleton set where you have 3. So from all real numbers you take away, you remove the singleton set 3. So this function, if this function you call this as g of x, if this function is called, you call the right hand side as g of x, then what is domain of g? Domain of g, you write d and then subscript g. Domain of g is all real number except 3. This is domain of G. So remember students, what is domain of a function? What is domain of a function, students? Domain of a function, domain of a function f of x or g of x is a set of x value for which the function is defined. That is, domain of a function is the set of permissible values which will go in place of x in the function. Now here what I understand in this function, what I understand, that domain here, the example just now I give you here, what I understand, this function is not defined for x is equal to 3, and hence x is not permissible. Okay, you can again, if you want to listen to this, you can again replay the video. Listen here. So the pointer was the numbers which are taken by independent variable x make the domain set of the function. In above example, that is y equals to 2x. In above example, we have taken set of real numbers as the domain. Set of real numbers, that is all real numbers, my dear students. Why set of real numbers here? Why we do not have to exclude any number here? Because here we have the function as 2x, and you understand we need not exclude any number here. For every x value this function is defined. This function is defined for each and every x value. For every x value we will get a unique y value, whereas here what we saw, here we saw that, whereas in this we saw that this function is defined for all x values except 3, except 3. So the domain here is, the domain is set of real numbers excluding 3. Then we come to f. The f says the values of f of x for all the values of x, for all the values of f of x, for all the values of x form the range set. Students, as you just now, as we spoke about the domain, now it is time we learn about the range. So what is the range set? I will tell you that. See students, in this function y equals to 2x, these x values, all these x values give you the domain set. These are the values which go in the function. There are infinite x values which will go in the function. This is the domain set. So what was the domain set here, students? The domain set was set of real numbers. What is range? For all these x values, when you substitute in the function and you get the respective function value, I what I mean is these what I mean is these y values, when you substitute all these domain values in the function, and for all these domain values x, the values that you get f of x, the set of numbers which you get for f of x is known as the range. That is, when you are putting x as -3, you are getting here f of -3. This is f of -1.7. This is f of -1.7. This is f of negative 0.5. This one is f of 0. This is f of 2. This is f of 4. F of 4. So what you have to understand, I made a mistake here, students. I'm sorry for that. This is f of 1. This is f of 1. Why? Because you get this when you are substituting x as 1. This is f of 2. You get this when you are substituting x as 2. And this is f of 2.7. So what is range? These all values, that is -6, -3.4, -1, and infinite such numbers which you are getting after you substitute x values here. That is the number which you get as an answer for y. The set of y or f of x will form the range set. That is what is written here. See, the values of f of x for all the values of x form the range set. So what is the range set here, students? These numbers will form the range set. These numbers will form the range set, whereas the x values are forming the domain set. Okay, it is continued in the next video.